Hey y'all, how you doing? June 19 now, it's Monday. About quitting time. We're wife's on her way home, getting ready to throw some little little black Angus steaks from Aldi on the little miniature racetrack grill because we don't own a big barbecue. So that's some little red potatoes and lots of protein for Big Daddy, right? So before I shut it down for the day, I figured I'd give you a little look-see of what's going on here. Is Patrick's motor, the new rotor and stator in place, timed. This was a Chris Frizza engine, and I guess his engine builder was Kim at PKT. So I called Kim, asked him if he remembered what kind of timing he set this thing at. He really didn't remember, but he gave me some numbers. Obviously, road racing, you don't want the stock standard TM sprint racing, sprint track timing. You can run it like that, but it isn't going to make any revs or any mile per hour. It'll have all kinds of grunt, but it'll run out of steam. So we, sure as anything, he gave me some numbers. Their number for road racing, not quite as retarded as my straight line PVL analog ignition timing, but I'm laying down a lot less wind resistance and what have you. So went ahead and set it up at that number for Patrick. Now what we're going to do tomorrow when Patrick comes over is I'm going to give him his tools. We made two of everything, right? Rotor puller, rotor holder, right? That's 073, 072, 073 steel, like the old Motoplat wrench, right? It doesn't need to be real thick because you really shouldn't be cranking this thing down anyway. The more you tighten this down, the more you're pushing it onto that taper. And ask me how I know. I've run this thing on here like an idiot with a impact and split one of my rotors right in two. That's right. The nut isn't going to stop moving until it runs out of threads, and it isn't going to run out of threads until the taper, literally like a log splitter, cuts that thing right in half. So little blue Loctite on here. You hold it with this with the rotor wrench, and just get it good and by hand, good and snug. I don't use a torque wrench. It's built into my elbow. That's right. It's built into my elbow. That one, Patrick, I can't make for you. But we got them all set up here. So let me sit you down and you can take a look at how this all works. I'm going to have him, when he gets here tomorrow, use his wrench, take this off with a wrench. I'll have him put the puller I made for him on, right? And I'll have him pull this rotor back off. One of these bolts, I think it goes the other way. I don't know why. This shouldn't be directional. I mean, it should be asymmetrical, but for some reason, this one hole, there it goes. It just doesn't like, I guess it just doesn't like this other bolt. And of course, when the nut's off, these bolts are going to thread in another 3/16 or an inch. As long as you got a good ½ inch of thread, as much thread in there as you can get, you know. If you can get them all the way down in there, then that's what you do. And we could countersink these heads a little bit if we wanted to, but we don't want to take away any of the integrity of this aluminum. And then of course we went ahead and took a grade 8 7/16/20 thread bolt. And it's not rocket science, man. You just grind a tip on it. It doesn't need to be, I mean, listen, this RPM homemade puller, this thing will work for years and years. I still have I'll show it to you. I still have my RS ignition stuff up here. So I'll have them, nut will be off. We'll have them get these tight and then put some pressure on this here. A little tap, pow, it'll pop right off, I'm sure. And then we'll have him reassemble everything. Right, and then let me show you what else I got going for him. We'll have him reassemble with his new rotor wrench, right? And you can put it on the other way. Use the bench or something as a you know, so the wrench won't turn. His water pipe is kind of in the way, but we'll get him, you know, get that back on, a little blue Loctite on there, and then I got his. We'll have him. I don't know if you can see all the way up here. I got him this little gauge, this little dial indicator. Came with mini lathe when I bought it. The guy gave it to me. There's no face on, no glass on it, but it's accurate. It works really well. This was in my kit of my, I'll show you, my pop basher stuff I was telling you yesterday. This is the pop basher setup I use. It's a spark plug with a piece of metal tubing brazed to it with a little, I think it's a 1032 or an 832. This is the gauge I've used for years and years on all my Comets, the R-Delt, all the dirt bike engines, the Suzukis, the YZs, all the way up to the RS-125, and on to all the KZ engines and everything else from there on out. This thing's got 1,000,000 miles on it, but I love it. And I wasn't going to give up this year. I was going to make Patrick another one of these, but this one was in there, and because the shaft on this particular gauge, if you look at these others, this one's actually got an extension on it. You see that little mini extension there, right? So you see how little you got coming out of here, right? And this one's the same way, they're exact same gauges. This one's a bit longer, so I thought, you know what? These aren't going to work with these without longer extensions. So I went out and I bought some extensions and got it worked out to where, you know, you also don't want this gauge to spin 10 times, you know. So obviously he's going to have to, I'll move you up top here. He's going to have to put this bit in first, and we can put some flats on it for him. Or I mean, really, you just hand tight is enough. It's not going anywhere. It's good, and, you know, it's in there. And then this will go in. Actually, we got the extension that we know is the right length for it. And you look, this is a long piece, man, compared to mine. Right? This is longer. But you see the extensions are about the same total length. So you put this in, and I set it up so you can just put it all the way down. Little 1/16 inch Allen, and I'll give him this too if he doesn't have a set of his own. I'm sure he does. Right, so that's it. Just snug. You don't need to crank these things down, right? And then you know, you turn this. What I learned is you turn this slowly. See, we're going. Gotta get my glasses on. That's two full rotations. Right. Okay. 1, 2, and a little bit, about 40, 35 thou. So that's top dead. You wiggle it back and forth and you find that high spot right there. Right, so we'll go ahead and set to 0, and the phone's ringing. It's probably the wife telling me go ahead and put those stakes on. Rotate it backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 50 thou is what the number Kim gave me, and I'll be darned if that, because RPM's already set it up, the marks line right up. So we'll have Patrick do all this tomorrow, so he can, you know, see how his tools work. You shouldn't slam this thing. Don't let this gauge slam itself open and closed. You got to use. I use 2 thumbs, right, and you just go easy, man. Even when it's not, you know, you're coming down, you're coming back up, you got to be careful. You don't want to smash into this indicator, right? And I always go back again and check and make sure 0 is 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 50 thou, and check it out. And she's toot sweet. So we'll leave all this stuff for Patrick tomorrow, and when he comes to get it, we'll run him through all this. He didn't have a gauge, so I'm guessing he doesn't know how to do it. And it's not rocket science, but it takes a little finesse. You don't want to be slamming these things around because it'll screw up the calibration of the gauge. And even though it doesn't have a glass face on it, this is a good gauge. So rock on, right? That's it for Monday the 19th. Patrick will be coming over. Maybe we'll do a little episode with Patrick the painter. God bless, Godspeed. Hang in there, y'all. We are praying for you. Pray for us too, because we're stuck in this evil upside down world just like the rest of you are. Hang on. Until then, you know, until the big event, we'll keep playing with the go-karts. And y'all take it easy. Love you. Hang in there. We're praying for you. It'll get better.